everybody, welcome back for another unboxing video brought to you by Bearded Kaiju's Unboxing Reviews. If you guys like the channel, hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, share with anybody that you like the content of this channel. Also hit the bell notification so you're notified when videos drop like this one. Yeah, we were back for another unboxing and review, and man, oh man, I wasn't lying when I was saying Bandai, Bandai, Bandai. So today is a special treat because honestly, I had this set in my collection for a very long time, and years ago I actually sold it. And I always thought, maybe I kind of want that back, and I was like, I really do want that back. I do like that set, and I missed out. And actually recently, I wasn't even thinking about getting it, even though I wanted it back. Never crossed my mind, and it just so happens that I crossed paths on Bandai with this set, and it was just a good deal, honestly. I kind of let it go and kind of let it expire, kind of let it do its thing, and I was like, I'm trying to save up, and it came on again with even a reduced price. I was like, you know what, I have to go for this. It's just too good of a price for these figures because I've had them once before. I know how big they are, what they look like, and condition of these figures looked very, very promising. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the dive and get these guys. So I'm happy I did because I do enjoy them, and I'm glad I got them back in my collection with actually an added bonus, which is actually really, really cool, very unique. I'm very excited for that, and can't wait to show you all. So with that, let's get into today's unboxing and see what I got. So before I start, I'm going to just show this bad thing off, and if you know the movie from this title, you'll know exactly what we're talking about today. But the buyer that I bought this set from actually had this acrylic standee in there with it, and I actually so happen to collect these. I think I already have this one, pretty sure, but I'm not 100%. But this was really cool because in the picture they had this displayed with the figures. And I was like, oh, that's really awesome. I was like, coincidentally, I have those. So just seeing it with the figures, I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I was like, yep, I really need that. And this is a nice little thank you from the seller. So that's really awesome. But yeah, if you know this title, you know what we're talking about today. So I'm excited. Let's get right into it. And with the first figure, we're going to start off small and kind of work our way up. But we got the Queen of the Monsters. I don't think she's the Queen of the Monsters. Everybody else does. I think there's another queen, but we'll give her this title for now. But we have the Queen of the Monsters, the GMK 2001 version of Mothra. A very different version that we ever got from Mothra. She was a lot smaller. She had different abilities than she's ever had before, and just very different. And she was just a little bit meaner. Like she had an attitude, So it was kind of nice to see at the same time. So, this Mothra, this figure looks amazing. I'm not the biggest fan of this Mothra, don't get me wrong. I like the film, but this iteration of Mothra is not my favorite. It's probably the weakest, I would say, out of the Mothras for me personally. But the figure is great nonetheless. So as you can see here, lots of color, which I love. Obviously Mothra is known for her color, so you really have to get that all right. And it's a decent size figure. She is no slouch for sure. Here is the tag of her with the 2001 from her film, which is super great. On the back side, it's just the Bandai Movie Monster Series standard kind of design that they had back in the day. I think you see GMK's eye in the background there. So, but yeah, this is the 8-inch line. So this is the 8-inch Mothra GMK. So really great. She kind of stands like this, so you can kind of have her standing up a little bit instead of having her flat on the table. So I do like that, where you can kind of see a lot more of her. You just have to position the legs. So yeah, so there's a little bit of articulation in the legs a little bit here for each of these big ones, but other than that, the other ones you don't get anything. Really not much going on with the wings. I think her head does move a little bit, so you do get a swivel, but that's about it for articulation. So yeah, that's Mothra. And right after her, the king of chicken feet himself, King Ghidorah, the 1,000-year-old dragon from GMK. Again, not my favorite iteration of this character. So there's two of the big four that I just don't like in this particular movie, and yet this movie is my favorite Millennium movie out of all. It's just overall just a great movie. So regardless of the designs of the monsters, you can still have a very good movie and have somebody like it if you don't always like the monster designs. So but yeah, and maybe, you know, he was like this because he was a young Ghidorah. You know, he was supposed to be a lot older. You know, he was supposed to be like the 10,000-year-old dragon, but he was awoken over only after 1,000 years. So maybe that's why he looks like this. He looks more like a juvenile, and maybe, you know, chalk it up to that, and that's why his design went like this. And maybe that's why they went this kind of route with this particular Ghidorah design. So who knows? But yeah, so here he is, very massive King Ghidorah. Actually, this is another of the 8-inch scale, so a lot of size for this particular Ghidorah. Wingspan is quite considerable. Is definitely a hog shelf for sure. So that's always no fun, but you know, it is what it is. Here is the tag. You're gonna get the King Ghidorah look on him from the film, and you can see the tail length is considerably long, you know, so it goes straight back. There's no curve, there's no nothing. So, you know, you get the wing length and then you get the tail length, so he takes up a lot of room. So you definitely need a lot of room on your shelf for this bad boy. But the sculpt is great. It's spot on from the movie. You know, he's got the hunched over look to him. Wasn't really the standing up kind of Ghidorah. Like I said, more of a juvenile, and that's kind of what I'm thinking now. More that I talk about is that he was just a juvenile, 1,000 years old, and he just looked young. So, and like I said, maybe that's how it went. So, not a lot of articulation on him. Some, you know, you got some leg action here for both of them. You do have his next move for each one, the heads move for each one, and then the tail on the back. You do get a little bit of a swivel, you know, so show some decent articulation for this size Ghidorah, but overall great sculpt, great look. The gold is just iconic for Ghidorah, so I'm glad they went with that. Not the biggest on the design on his heads and stuff. I thought that was kind of plasticky look even in the film, but still enjoyed it, you know, nonetheless. And yeah, it's just a great movie overall. So not the greatest King Ghidorah, not the most fearsome or feared, I would say, but other than that, it's all right. So, to the one that I think stole the show for the whole film was Baragon himself. I think he put on just a show and a underdog story type thing. He was just no match for Godzilla, but yet he just kept fighting and was like, I will not back down. You will not punk me. You will not intimidate me in any way, shape, or form. So I will fight you to the bitter end. And I just loved it. Loved that, you know, that dog kind of grit that Baragon had. And, you know, it was great to see him come back, you know, in a film, you know, since technically you could say Destroy All Monsters, but he wasn't really in it that much. It was kind of more of a background character. So really not since 1965, Baragon versus Frankenstein, or Frankenstein Conquers the World, that you really got to see a lot of Baragon. So it was nice to see him come back and really get some spotlight, honestly, in a film. So it was really great to see that. Here is the tag. Obviously you see Baragon in all his glory in the film. So super great for that. But yeah, this design is great. He actually just stands. So he's got that standing pose that he did a lot in the film. He wasn't more of a quadruped in that film. He was on his fours sometimes, but a lot of times he was just like this, where he was just kind of standing up on two legs, trying to get the size, you know, as what Godzilla had, and they were duking it out. And probably the best fight scene in the whole film was these two duking it out on the mountainside. So a lot of fun. But yeah, love this Baragon, love this sculpt, again in the 8-inch line with the others, and he's just super great. Articulation, you get it in the arms for both sides, you get it in the legs, both sides, you get it in the tail, and then I believe you get it in the head just a little bit. And even the ears too move, so you can move those up and down and stuff. So a little bit in the head, not much. So, but really great sculpt overall. Really dig this thing, and I'm just glad I got in the collection. The big bad himself, the bully in this film, the one we're kind of all there to look and watch, is Godzilla. Now, when I first had this set, I just had, you know, all three of those particular kaiju, and then I had Godzilla in his normal form, normal charcoal gray look GMK Godzilla. Well, with this set had a different Godzilla version or release of that particular Godzilla, and it was super great. I know a buddy of mine, Jordan Adorno, aka the Realist Goji, who's part of the MWA family. He talked about this particular figure on a recent stream that we had talking about Bandai, actually. And I saw that and I was like, wow, I was like, that looks great. And this particular figure was in this set, and I was like, wow, I was like, I kind of wanted, you know, the normal version back with me, but I was like, okay, I'll take it, you know, and maybe I'll find another version. And honestly, getting it in hand, seeing it firsthand in front of me, I don't want the normal version anymore. This version is just fine and perfect, honestly. And it's better than any pictures I've ever seen, honestly. And that's a lot of times, don't ever trust photos, because photos don't do justice to these things, or, you know, give you a good opinion or advice, because sometimes they're just wrong and people just can't maybe take a photo, you know, and stuff. So but yeah, I got the Godzilla, but it is a special version. It is the Hyper Hobby mail-away version, actually, that was very exclusive to Hyper Hobby. So without further ado, I got the translucent GMK Hyper Hobby version, which is just absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see, it is glitter infused, just super awesome. Glitter all over the place. Like I said, translucency. So what they did with this is that it was a translucent release, and then they injected it with black ink to darken up the body, and had the glitter infused also with the vinyl. So it's just super great. So the body is all black, but you can see the translucent, but you can really see it like on his claws coming out, even his toes, and even his teeth a little bit, because then they just painted over it. Same thing with the eyes, you can see it in his eyebrows, even in his spines, the translucency is there, but they painted over it with gold to get the spines colored and stuff. So really impressive release, and I'm glad I have this, because this is super awesome. And I didn't think I needed it, and I thought the normal one was fine for me, and I'm glad I got this, and I'm glad that this was part of the group of figures, because this does not disappoint. And like I said, it's something that is way better in person than it is in pictures. So super happy for it. The design, the sculpt, all of it's just awesome. And I just, like I said, I regretted getting rid of this guy, so I'm glad I got this set back in my collection. Here is a picture of the tag. It says Hyper Hobby on there. It is a mail away, so really exclusive, harder to find, just version of him. So really happy for this, and excited to have this back in the collection, and even upgraded, honestly. All right, guys, and here it is. Here's the trio all in one. Just super great. Glad I got everything. It's amazing. It really is. And I'm just happy to have it back in my collection. I really am. It's weird that, when you sell something, you never think, and I usually don't have regret about selling anything, because when I do, I lose the love, I lose the passion for it, and I just feel like someone else can enjoy it more than I can now, but, ever since getting kind of back into Bandai and really it hitting me, I was like, oh man, I really wish that I didn't sell that. And honestly, there was a couple that I haven't sold that I wanted to sell that I'm glad I never did. So, it happens, with us collectors, we love stuff one thing or one time, and then the next we don't, and maybe we sell something and then regret it and we want to get it back. It's just kind of part of the journey of collecting. And our interests change, our likes change throughout the years. So, but I'm glad that I got to rectify, getting rid of this set and honestly upgrading to a even better set with getting the exclusive Godzilla, honestly. And everything's in great shape. All the tags are in great shape. The figures are in great shape. No scuffing, no nothing. They don't smell. So the seller took a very good job caring for these, and I'm just very thankful. So whenever we have a good transaction or a good experience from another seller, it just means the world, and it just shows that they cared as much as you do or I do, when we buy these things. So but yeah, with that, I am out of here. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Just remember to like, comment, subscribe, and remember on July 19th at 5 p.m. Central, I'm doing my live 1,000 subscriber giveaway stream. So tune in for that. Let's hang out, have some fun, talk, and maybe we'll do something fun while we're streaming, and then I will be giving away a free X Plus figure. You don't have to do anything. Just come hang out and be part of the channel, and just a thank you from me to you. So thank you, and we're just gonna keep going, keep building from here, and who knows where it'll take us. So just appreciate all of you for the support, and yeah, till next time, later.